When your car vibrates and the tire shop balances your tires, but the shake returns within weeks, the real cause is almost certainly one of 4 mechanical issues that most drivers and even some mechanics overlook, because tires are the obvious first suspect. Yet independent diagnostic data shows that worn CV axles, failing engine mounts, warped brake rotors, and worn suspension components collectively cause more vibration complaints than tire imbalance in vehicles over 75,000 miles. According to ASE certified master technicians and automotive diagnostic specialists, the mistake most drivers make is assuming vibration equals tire problem, spending $50 to $80 on balancing repeatedly while the actual cause continues worsening. Each of these 4 causes produces a distinctly different vibration pattern that tells you exactly what's failing if you know what to look for. A warped brake rotor produces vibration only when braking, felt primarily through the brake pedal and steering wheel during deceleration. A worn CV axle creates vibration that appears or intensifies when accelerating from a stop or making turns under load. A failing engine or transmission mount causes vibration at idle that changes with RPM and may cause a clunk when shifting or accelerating. Worn ball joints, tie rod ends, or control arm bushings create vibration that appears over bumps and at specific speed ranges due to looseness in the suspension geometry. The critical point is that each cause has a specific diagnostic signature that doesn't require expensive equipment to identify, just knowledge of what to look for and a systematic approach. Keep watching, because I'm going to explain each cause in detail, tell you exactly how to identify which one is causing your vibration, and give you realistic repair cost expectations so you know what to budget. Hey, if you like this kind of straight-to-the-point content with no BS, help me out here. Subscribe to the channel right now. It takes 2 seconds and guarantees you won't miss any tips that could save you some serious cash. Let me start with warped brake rotors because this is the most frequently misdiagnosed vibration source. Brake rotors are flat metal discs that rotate with the wheel. When you press the brake pedal, brake pads clamp against both faces of the rotor, creating friction that slows the vehicle. For this system to work smoothly, the rotor faces must be perfectly flat and even. Heat is the enemy of rotors. Every braking event generates tremendous heat, especially during aggressive or repeated braking. Modern rotors are made of cast iron and are designed to handle normal braking heat, but several situations cause warping. Repeated heavy braking from highway speeds generates intense heat. If you then immediately stop and leave the vehicle stationary, the hot rotor cools unevenly where the brake pad rests against it, creating a thicker spot. This creates lateral runout or rotor thickness variation. When the thickened spot passes between the brake pads during rotation, it pushes the pads slightly outward, which pushes brake fluid back into the master cylinder, creating a pulsation felt in the brake pedal and steering wheel. This is precisely what distinguishes rotor vibration from tire vibration. Brake rotor vibration occurs only during braking, not during cruising. Tire vibration occurs at specific speeds, regardless of whether you're braking. If your car shakes when you press the brake pedal but drives smoothly otherwise, your rotors are warped, not your tires. This diagnosis requires 0 tools or expertise, just paying attention to when the vibration occurs. Modern vehicles with ABS systems can sometimes trigger pulsation that feels like rotor vibration during hard braking, but ABS engagement is momentary and occurs only during threshold braking. Consistent pulsation during any moderate to hard braking is rotor warping. Rotor resurfacing costs $50 to $100 per axle if the rotors are thick enough. Rotor replacement costs $150 to $300 per axle. This is a straightforward repair. The second cause is a worn CV axle producing vibration during acceleration. Constant velocity or CV axles transmit power from the transmission to the front wheels on front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles, or from the differential to rear wheels on rear-wheel drive and AWD vehicles. CV joints allow the axle to flex as the suspension moves up and down while maintaining constant rotational velocity. Each axle has inner and outer CV joints protected by rubber boots filled with grease. When these boots crack and lose their grease, the CV joint runs dry and wears rapidly. A worn outer CV joint is the classic cause of a clicking sound when turning, especially in tight turns like parking lot maneuvers. However, before the clicking stage, a partially worn or grease-depleted CV joint causes vibration, specifically during acceleration, from a stop or at low speeds under load. The vibration may not be present during coasting or cruising. During acceleration, the drivetrain torque loads the CV joints. A worn joint that spins smoothly under light load develops vibration under the higher forces of acceleration. You might notice the vibration appears when pulling away from a stop, climbing a hill, or during hard acceleration, then disappears during steady cruising. This pattern strongly suggests a CV axle problem rather than tire imbalance, which doesn't change with acceleration. Inspection involves checking the CV boots for cracks and grease leakage. Cracked boots with grease flung around the surrounding area confirm the CV joint has been running without lubrication. CV axle replacement costs $250 to $500 per axle at most repair shops, including parts and labor. The third cause is failed engine or transmission mounts, which produces vibration that's distinctly different from the other causes. Engine mounts and transmission mounts are rubber and metal assemblies that attach the powertrain to the vehicle frame or subframe. Their job is twofold: to hold the engine and transmission in position, and to isolate vibration from the rotating engine before it reaches the vehicle body. Every engine vibrates because internal combustion is an inherently uneven process. Mounts absorb this vibration. When mounts fail, the rubber portion cracks, collapses, or separates from the metal, allowing the engine to move more than designed and transmitting vibrations directly to the chassis. Identifying failed mount vibration. The vibration is felt primarily at idle and low speeds, often described as a shudder or shake when sitting in drive at a stoplight. The vibration changes with engine RPM, getting worse at certain RPM ranges and better at others. Hard acceleration may produce a distinct clunk or thud as the engine torques against a failed mount. Looking under the hood, you can sometimes see the engine visibly rock during gear changes or acceleration. A more definitive check involves having a helper put the vehicle in drive with foot on the brake while you visually watch the engine. Excessive movement confirms mount failure. Failed mounts also cause accelerated wear on other drivetrain components because they allow misalignment under load. Engine mount replacement costs $150 to $400 per mount depending on location and vehicle. Many vehicles have 3 to 4 mounts, and mechanics typically recommend replacing all of them simultaneously because if one has failed, the others have experienced similar wear and stress. The fourth cause is worn suspension components including ball joints, tie rod ends, control arm bushings, and sway bar links. These components connect the wheels to the vehicle frame and control wheel position during cornering, acceleration, and braking. When they wear, they develop looseness or play that allows wheels to shift position slightly, creating vibration, imprecise steering, and handling problems. Worn suspension components create vibration that is often noticed over bumps and rough road surfaces, but may also create highway speed vibration at specific ranges due to wheel shimmy from loose geometry. Unlike smooth tire vibration at consistent speeds, suspension vibration often feels more random or worse over rough pavement and may be accompanied by clunking or knocking sounds over bumps. Diagnostic check for worn ball joints. With the vehicle safely lifted and the wheel hanging free, grab the tire at 12 and 6 o'clock positions and try to rock it up and down. Any vertical movement or clunking indicates ball joint wear. Grab the tire at 3 and 9 o'clock positions and rock side to side. Movement here, combined with clunking, indicates tie rod wear. For control arm bushing wear, look at the rubber bushings where the control arm bolts to the subframe. Cracked, torn, or collapsed bushings indicate failure. Replace worn suspension components before they cause handling emergencies. Ball joint failure at highway speeds is catastrophic, causing immediate loss of steering control. Tie rod failures cause steering to go completely loose. Ball joint replacement costs $200 to $400 per joint. Tie rod and replacement costs $150 to $300 per side. Control arm bushing. Replacement costs $200 to $500 per side, depending on vehicle. Now, let me give you a systematic diagnostic approach to identify which of these causes is creating your vibration. The diagnostic process takes 10 minutes and requires no tools. Step 1, note exactly when the vibration occurs. Only during braking means rotors. During acceleration specifically from stops means CV axle. At idle and low speeds that changes with RPM means engine mounts. Over bumps and rough roads means suspension components. At a specific highway speeds, regardless of braking or acceleration, means tire imbalance, the common diagnosis. Step 2, note where you feel the vibration. Steering wheel only during braking means front rotors. Seat and pedal during braking means rear rotors. Steering wheel during acceleration from stops means front CV axle. Whole vehicle shudder means engine mounts or rear CV axle. Random vibration over bumps and steering wheel means front suspension. Step 3, perform the simple hand tests for wheel bearing play and suspension looseness described earlier. Step 4, inspect CV boots visually for cracks and grease. Step 5, watch the engine during acceleration for excessive movement indicating mount failure. Following this systematic approach, most vibration causes can be identified without expensive diagnostic equipment. Present your findings to the mechanic before they start work, as this prevents the reflexive tire balancing recommendation when the real problem is clearly something else. Repair priority depends on safety implications. Failed ball joints and tie rod ends are safety emergencies requiring immediate repair. Warped rotors compromise braking effectiveness and should be repaired within 1 to 2 weeks. CV axles and engine mounts should be repaired within a month before they worsen. So here's the bottom line. Repeated tire balancing that doesn't fix vibration indicates a different cause. Warped rotors vibrate only during braking. Worn CV axles vibrate specifically during acceleration. Failed engine mounts vibrate at idle and change with RPM. Worn suspension components vibrate over rough roads and produce clunks over bumps. Using the when and where diagnostic approach identifies the real cause without guesswork or wasted money on balancing services that can't fix mechanical failures.